in my hand. Hear the shadows follow me over the hills in the evergreen. Trade my soul for a chance to carry on into the wild. Na 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 na. Into the wild. To the wild. Into the wild. Hidden fortress. I'm the attack and there's no going back. Hearing voices calling out my name. Got them path laid out in front of me. Sharp knife, headstrong, no time to think. I'm a huntress. I don't know who I am. Hear the shadows follow me over the hills in the evergreen. Trade my soul for a chance to carry on into the wild. To the wild. Into the wild. Na 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 na. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Into the wild. Shadows follow me over the hills and the evergreen. Treat myself for a chance to carry on into the wild.
I can feel I'm changing. I don't know if I'll ever go back. All the ways that you make me, build me up on the things I lack. I don't ever wanna lose you now. 'Cause I don't think I'll make it clear now. 'Cause it's you and only you. 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 'Cause it's you and only you.
What a day. Today's
I don't know where the time goes. Just
today's
trying to hold you close. In my arms with your eyes closed. For the first time I've got hope. I don't ever wanna lose you now. I don't think I'll make it here now.
and it's back cheek.
I don't ever wanna lose you now. I don't think I'll make it here now. 'Cause it's you and only. 'Cause it's you and only.
Starting.
'Cause it's you and only. Because it's you and only you.
So, also, traffic lights? So we have traffic lights. Oh yeah, and signage. We have these traffic lights here. This one was specially edited. So I'm going to show you. Then I'll show you the code behind it if I can find it. So we have this server, and we have this microcontroller down here. The microcontroller does beep really loudly. Each beep equals a call to it. So this is communicated through the network. This only communicates through local network. These wires have to be connected to it. That does take power. Immersive engineering. It goes in, so it's open computer support. The wires go down here. This is what allows it to turn on and off, and that controls the cycles back there. So if I do a quick reboot here, so this code allows me to complete actions, and this is port 1. That sign I'll show you what it is too. So restarting it will restart the lights, causing it to go off, and then back on. It will start in flash mode as the traffic lights start. So that's cool. And that one right there is the number of the traffic identifier, the traffic signal. So when this asks for the port, that's what it's asking. Pretty simple, pretty neat, pretty cool. You ask me. It's way too fun. With the open computer. The mods that I'm using will be traffic control, or at least these red lights, traffic control, open computers, and Project Red. And you'll probably see how I build a traffic control in a minute, because I'm thinking about introducing an intersection. This one is a bit weird. This one is identifier 112. I'm going to show you how we stop the traffic light. So if we say stop, then we have 112. So it does require a tablet. But however, as you can tell, it does shut down. You may be hearing click, 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 click. Well, that's this. I eventually plan on making that better. Instead of it click, 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 click sound, it will actually just turn on the lights. I may do that today even. If you come down here, that's the because I may make that better. We'll find it. We usually have an hour in the stream. Max of 2 hours. Should be able to do it. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start it back up. Now, the only one down to the start script is it starts all of them. So, let me show you. So, if I, for example, stop both of these. But I'm going to explain why I think that's good. So, both of them are offline at the moment. So let's say the power went out and all of them are down. We're trying to start them up. Traffic lights within range of 400 blocks within this tablet, or within range based off of blockage, because blocks can block the signal. So if I start on 1.2 to start this one, unfortunately both will boot up, even both flash. So that's the only thing you do. I do have kind of public that's out. I have no way of really truly stopping it. So I'm thinking of doing is letting the server stay on, or having a separate wake message where it wakes all the servers up automatically. And the servers nearby each other. out. I have to figure that out. But this is gonna be a perfect time to get into grenade flashing mode. Those will continue to flash and boot up. You may have saw a video on that. Maybe it hasn't reset up yet, but I am gonna cut the power. That is turn off. It's not needed. Obviously, because the construction was light. I just had it on for some reason. So this light, after they, I think it's like 90. It is currently 20:32. It's at 21, hour 21 in the game. It will go to flash mode. And I think that light just died. So it's not pushed up to 21 after. Yeah. So, you may have noticed that the microcontrollers should be off. Now, the energy that it still has energy. I'll explain this in a minute. But each traffic light has a certain amount of energy and it has a minimal amount of energy. There it is. So now it's 21 after. We have the lights flashing. Now these ones flash. Those ones are gonna flash as soon as I get the code in, which you see me do today. And then I think, yeah, these ones flashing as well. These are the ones down here that I showed in the video. So these ones are still flashing, obviously. Those ones are actually flashing now. But these ones will remain flashing due to the fact that it's not the same. But I'm not show you both. This one is goes all red. There's a lot of intersection to clear out. And then after 8 seconds cleared, it's the same for the power thing. Except the red don't land in fact. This one with power cycle is all red as well. It has a 20-second time. I did it differently than usual. But usually it'd be 8 seconds. And I'm not repeating what I did here. I probably to lower the volume. As low as it can be. There we go. So now it's not blasting, guys. You're over me. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, see, that's the signal. As you could tell, it's back to normal now. I'm gonna ahead and go over here. It's gonna be ready, running, and functional. But this will also give me another time to explain something. It will finish its cycle, not its phase. Its full cycle. A full cycle is like all of its phases together, at least in my mind. I'm not sure how they really combine phases like that, but it will finish all its phases before going to flash mode. So if it's set to 15,000, which is 21 after in game. So right now it's in its last phase. Well, this only has 2 phases anyways, but as you can tell here, it's finishing out its phase now. Boom, just goes to flash mode. So then during the day, our normal traffic light at this flash mode will go yellow and red. And it'll stay red for 8 seconds. And then it will go to its final section. Now, these green arrows are always on, which is why they turn green almost immediately. This is due to this ramp eventually going to be open. Because it's going to go down that way now. I have my render distance low for streaming reasons. Because what we don't want to have happen is, let's say not have these set up yet, and then we try to reprogram the traffic lights. Now, reprogram the traffic lights is a little bit difficult, but we have these lights, which I'm gonna work on next. But there is one light I do want to show you, and actually I'm going to teleport over here. Things are gonna load in. So this is the new road. It says intersection. This is the new bridge that goes over the freeway. This is the freeway. Going down that way leads to exit 1. This is a bridge that I've been working on. As you watch from the bridge video, you know how the bridges work. Except I'm doing this a little bit backwards from that video. I didn't even get one side done so far. It's because I work on multiple things in this world. I decided to work on traffic lights for a bit and get those functional. This road is closed. That road leads to that one main road, and you'll see that in a minute. If you continue down this road, ignore these pools. I used to have a weather mod, and I was holding the siren, but I removed the weather mod due to lag. So, anyways, if you come down here, and we continue to come down here, this is a long way too. Anyways, if you come here, you just notice this road is closed from over here in the desert. And the traffic signal's dead. That's not supposed to be. Let's go ahead and start it back up. So the lights will begin to flash as normal. Now the cycle has been modified. Instead of a normal cycle, because normal cycles will go in order. So the 2 left turns will go, then the straights will go, then same with the other bound. With the south and north in this situation being the primary. Unlike that run, this is the primary. Now, because of the closure, the traffic lights code was modified to perform differently. With good reason, too. Because this light does not need to activate, because this side doesn't go. And this turn frame does not need to activate, because it's not going to do any good. So if construction had to enter, they'll just go straight, U-turn, and come back. Which they can't even turn left there anyways, because the left turn lane's closed. Anyways, you're about to see the signal, and it dies. My assumption is power is somehow not working. The code is malfunctioning. This would be a good time to go to my code and show you my code. Anyways, this is my code. I'm going to go ahead and figure out what drive number I need to access for this to fix this. BEC. This was not part of my plan, but if lights aren't working, then they're no good. Okay, so this is the code. This is how they work. This bundled output is actually a function I made that broadcasts the message to the network, which then gets sent. And I'll show you the BIOS code here in a minute. But yeah, that's how that works. Now, the energy's right here. I'm going to head and lower that by another, let's say 298. Let's see how the server handles that. Now you gotta remember it is combined energy. I'm gonna get an analyzer quick and see where it stopped at. It stopped at 104.08, which means it's not receiving strong power, but it's receiving power nonetheless. It's going to turn on and make sure. And actually, that's not a good sign. It actually is losing power, which means somewhere down the line. So it's power loss. It's not anything we did. We need to figure out why power is being lost. It can be due to the fact that chunks aren't being loaded. If that's the case, I may need to do a reload in the future to fix that by adding a chunk loader, which I really didn't want to do. So actually, so it's not the code. It's actually the power. The power comes down this way. That's not okay. That's connected. These are receiving power just fine. So it's not a chunk loading issue. Something tells me it has to do with this connection. So let's go ahead and terminate that and make it semi more shorter for distance and see if that fixes the problem. And I actually need to get one of these. So it has to be with one of these connectors. That's a high voltage wire. I need medium voltage. Oh, but if you're wondering how I'm getting long distance, I changed the settings a little bit to immersive engineering, which allows me to travel these long distance, and that was important because, and I'll show you why in a minute here. As soon as I get this traffic lights to stay on. If this doesn't work, what I can do, then it's place a creative block for now, and then figure out the energy later. As you can tell, the server shut off. This is why I have that code. Okay. Okay, so it's fine by the looks of it getting energy, or is it losing energy? Still losing energy. It's dropping dramatically. Okay. So it's dropping dramatically, which means is it possible it's that? Okay, so now it's just troubleshooting. This happens a lot, believe it or not. Let's go and connect the energy. Still losing it. I'm gonna shut that off so it's not pulling the energy out. So something is preventing energy from going. What? All of it's connected as it should be. Why are we not gaining energy? It's possible when I'm over here. We got another short line. Apparently, if it's too long, it glitches out, I guess. I may need to keep that in mind. Let's see if it's finally gaining the energy it needs. It should be going up, but it's not. I mean, make sure the... Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So that wasn't the issue. We're going to follow the line again and see if we can find any other small minor issues along this path that could cause this not to receive power. So a lot of time troubleshooting just is back and forth work to make sure that it's actually receiving the power it needs. What I think is going on is some of these wires are unloading. It glitching out, even though it knows it's there. It doesn't pass the power because it doesn't know it's there, kind of situations. So now we have to fix it to where it actually works. And to do that, we must figure out how to get its energy up. It's not going up yet, so back down the line. We're going to keep doing this until we find all the problem spots. It should be along this path. So it should be easy to spot. We got another one here. Cut its wire. Because like I said, it knows it's there. It just doesn't, for some reason, pass the energy on. And before I continue on, I'm also gonna head and, since it will charge up anyways, go down more, make sure we're cleared all the problem spots. And it looks like we have. Now this hasn't been upgraded yet to the new area. Oh, this is using energy too. Because I haven't kept this trunk loaded long enough for it to use its power. So there's another problem going on which we need to resolve. Because we have this shortened line here. Let's go ahead and cut it down. So I'm just going down the line for trouble spots where I may have made the line a little bit too big, which happens. Also gonna look out for, once we get down there too, it may not even be this issue, actually. Yeah, I don't think it is that issue, because I never had issues with this before. So these work obviously just fine. We're gonna come down here. Somewhere along the lines here got cut. Is this receiving power? Yes, it's receiving steady power. If you come down here, you see that all the power lines are connected like they're supposed to, except this one is glitched. Let's go ahead and fix these glitches. Let's see if that fixes it. If this doesn't fix it, then it's a chunk loading issue. I could try putting the power plant instead of a spawn and see if that fixes the issue, which will keep the chunks loaded. Okay, I'm gonna be the brightest I do on the bunch. Okay, so yeah, that wire cut like it's supposed to. So we're getting down the line now. Because if this doesn't work, I could try putting the power plant inside spawn chunks. Basically what I'm doing is I'm cutting these paths in half. It's still long enough technically I can go over this road, but not long enough to where it's too long. And I may have actually need to cut the longest road piece that I have, which is the freeway. How many blocks that is, because that's the max road size I'm going to be doing in this road. I needed it long enough, so I changed it so I can cross roads. They're even huge. So it should show a steady 15, not dropping at all. Now it is. Okay. So we fixed the issue. Whatever issue it was, it seems to be fixed. Now we're going to come down this way and make sure that it's fixed all the way down the path. Even when the chunks down there aren't not loaded. Because this will unload those chunks except spawn. Spawn is the only one that's not going to be unloaded, which I think is where the power plant is. But yeah. Okay, so if I turn on the server, even though it's on, it should hold a steady 1599. Yep, cool. So now these lights work as they should. That was problematic. But anyways, now that it's resolved, we can continue on with the stream now. But yeah, let's go ahead and go back to what I was talking about this intersection. Anyways, this intersection's lights timings are completely different. After a minute, these lights will actually turn all red. It takes a minute. I set 60 seconds. Here. It really does take forever. You know, I'm night chatting. I have an idea for that one flasher. Pull up too. Okay, there we go. So they're all red. After 8 seconds here, those will actually turn green. On 8 seconds. And there we go. So as you can tell, it turns green. Those stay red. Because you can't really go anywhere on that side. There's no point. In most construction, be coming from that end up near the freeway anyways, since that area is closed in the first place. So there's no point of having this one functional just yet. Now it will change back to normal operations. I'll show you that here in a minute as soon as the full cycle goes through, because I want to show you. So now this phase is going to come. That side gets all green. This side will stay all red. But the only difference is both sides need to be able to go straight. This is where it gets interesting. The turn lane activates. So it acts like a one-sided turn lane. And I'll show you in our intersection, it actually does that as well. But yeah, it just acts like a one-sided turn lane. Like this side doesn't even have a turn like that, it's just flat. Anyways, let's go ahead and show you the code behind this intersection. Anyways, this is the code to a traffic signal in my road. It's pretty simple, but it starts up here. This is where it starts. The wake message is start. However, I don't have that set yet. Though I could send it if I connect a computer to this box. All traffic lights do have a local network wake up message, which I could program the microcontroller to control. But and I'll show you how this is changing in a minute by comparing it. But anyways, so this is the old code. It broadcasts off. If you send a message to stop it, it will broadcast off. If the energy is too low, it will also broadcast off to the microcontroller. The flash mode, this is how it starts. So it starts off with these. So it broadcasts to the microcontroller to turn on cyan. Cyan will actually which is controlled by this microcontroller. This microcontroller turns this line on, which would convert this power to on. Ignore the piston. The piston's no longer needed. And just because I don't want to hear beeping all day, I'm going ahead and just turn off the server for a bit. And turn off this microcontroller. I'm just turn off the lights, I know. But anyways, this control box is opposite. I'm going to move this piston. It's not going to need. That's from when I was having a very, very old system, which was a computer style with a screen, and it was a mess of a mess. Anyways, now that we're here, so that will turn on. After 60 seconds, this will broadcast again to turn 3 on, which is light blue. Unfortunately, the colors API didn't have light blue working, so I had to define its number manually. So if you come here, that's this. This box controls all of them at once and turns them red. It's like this box turns them off and then back on with flash mode enabled. And a lot of lights still use this functionality. So So that doesn't change. And then after 1 second, we'll just turn it back off. And then after 8 seconds, so basically 9 seconds in total, where it would be on for, it will do that. Anyways, next up, it activates this loop, which then activates the console. The console shows the current stats, such as energy and stuff like that. Now, console is no longer used. However, I am working on a way with the tablet here. I'm not going to be able to see this and go back, but I'll show you here when I get closer to it. But I can run status. Oops, not in all caps. This is sending a false port. So, as you can tell, it freezes up. But if we run the traffic light script, then we're the status on 1. We're not going to get anything because we're not close enough, and we're also on the block limit as well. But as you can tell, it freezes, so it's waiting for something. Anyways, let's kind of get back to this code. Wait, you didn't see that, did you? So in here, I'm working on a way to where you can run this and run a status command. It is programmed, and I'll show you here in a minute what it does. But it will tell you what its status is. It doesn't tell you all this information, but it would tell you that it's running for sure. Anyways, back to the code. So then from there, it activates this loop, which then runs this code. As you can tell, this code is commented out. So that's simple. And then these control boxes is what those set bundled outputs call to work as functions. Now, if you notice, brown was coded out. That is the normal cycle. So we coded it out because these no longer are needed. I'm going to head and turn on these lights back on. And we're going to head over to 11 so I can show you the statuses. So this traffic signal right here, this intersection has status involved. That one, it doesn't yet, but this is the only one that has status involved so far. So if I was to run status or none, it will actually output the time. That was not meant to happen, but I'll have to reprogram it to fix that. But if I, let's say, restart this traffic light, let it reboot here. There we go. It took the signal. Actually, it failed, so I have to redo it again. There we go. So now it's rebooting. Because the controller saw it. So if we run status again, it will tell you the lights are in flash mode. So instead of having a terminal on the server, it will actually communicate properly. Now, you may be wondering, why not just use a computer? Now, the way this works is actually with a wireless network card instead of a regular network card. And then the microcontroller, which I'll go ahead and show you as well. I can copy that one, which has only has a network card. So the microcontroller can only communicate through the wireless network. You cannot control them manually just yet. I do plan on adding a manual controller override, which you can send code. You can turn off the server and send code to it to communicate wirelessly. But yeah, we only have one server in here, which is tier 3. Thank you, microcontroller. That beeping that you're hearing right now, is it turning all red? This intersection's weird. Let me see if I can show you the code to it. A1FF. So that's it turning all red. Let me show you the code here as soon as I can find it here. A lot of hard drives in this world. These are all the hard drives in the world. As you can tell, it is cool. how much you can do. So this and to this is all this. This just states. Anyways, if we go to eight, no, that's not it. It's A1FF. Okay, here we go. So this one's acts different. I'll show you what I mean when I get to the other one as well, which is the same setup. This one is weird. Yes, this is weird as well. As when I was testing, I didn't realize wireless modems can also communicate to the local network until actually yesterday. But yeah. So what it does, it has its own port 111. Its start message is start, and then this is what I need to figure out, because what I want it to do is only wake up when its port is called. I need to figure out how to do that first. I mean, I could do this 111 start at the port to the front of the start. I guess that's an option, and then only that computer will communicate and wake up to that. But anyways, WM has been changed to M because obviously I don't feel like changing my code. Anyways, so this one broadcasts backwards. So the tablets are set to 2. So when the tablets are running, they're actually listening to port 2. So this will broadcast backwards back to the wireless controller to port 2. Now the only down is I could not use port 2 on any other traffic light. If I do, it would be chaos. It's the same for the traffic lights. They cannot communicate with each other like that. I'll have to open up a different ports and all that, and that's just a mess. I haven't figured out the port system just yet, but so far I think I'm working it out for the traffic lights for now. Anyways, the way the port system works is eventually this will reach thousands. The last digit is the traffic signal port, or in this case, the controller actually has 4. This would be the controller port. So the controllers will have 2, and then this number will change constantly. So 1 is traffic signals, 2 is controllers, and then this 1 up here just means it is the communicating via the traffic signal network. Which means that I was planning on doing eventually down the road is probably having this set to 2 for local network and then 1 for wireless network. Or vice versa. 2 for wireless network or whatever, but I haven't decided yet. But yeah, that's that. And yeah, so that's how this traffic light works. And that's how most of them are gonna work for the most part. Now, you be wondering, why is that one the only one that makes constant calls at the beginning? That is because at the beginning of the script, where the flash mode is, it actually filters out through all the stop colors. I was lazy to not put in blue for some reason when I reprogrammed it. Don't ask why when I hooked up the boxes. But that's easily answered here. If I let's drive number 484. Wait. That's not right. That's a disk usage. Doesn't use much disk usage at all. CB3. Here we go. So this one acts differently. It acts like it's supposed to. So it has the so the microcontroller has the port of 125 on this one. The wireless transponder has 112. and then it takes these imports, which allows me to stop and restart it, and then start just a backup message. But this is how I stop or start our control box. Now the only down is I think it takes all ports at the moment. Yeah, it does. The way I solve that up here was adding the port checker, which prevented it from being controlled when it wasn't supposed to be controlled. Anyways, if we come down here, you see that works, obviously. Now we have the traffic lights or starting lines. Now, again, there's no terminal, so these really do nothing as of now. But it calls for cyan, and then it calls for that light blue color, like it's supposed to. And if we come down here, it's pretty self-explanatory. So if we come down here, you see all the coloring. This one's a little bit more simpler. This calls flash, this calls that, this calls that, and this calls that. These are the cyan and light blues. This is the nighttime flasher. This is what puts it into flash mode. And then this yellow, obviously, is what I showed you before. Is how... This is where the traffic control box used to be when I used just Project Red. As you can tell, I still have some of the old state cells. I used to use state cells for the timings. And I did have a video recorded for that, but I never posted it. Never got to editing it and posting it. So, but it doesn't matter now, because now I can have a new tutorial come out where it's better. But, yeah, so we have that. I still use this Project Red, unfortunately. So we have this traffic map, which if you go to the Discord that for traffic control, you would actually be able to see the script because I posted it there and how this works. So I'm not going to share this one. This one's a secret. I'm not even going to work on it today. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue working on it. This one's in flash mode because it's nighttime, so don't freak out. Anyways, we do have a ramp meter coming down here as well, because if you remember, this freeway is getting extended. It's going to be an exit-only lane up to here. But as you can see, this is why I needed the wires to be longer, because I always to be wire pulls inside the middle of the road. That was my original plan. I even had a little bit of grass here and a wire pool here with keep right symbols. But now, since I edit the config, the wires actually cross the road. And you can actually see the traffic light from way over here. It's so cool. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue this network of coding. So these are no longer valid. So what I do is I take up the terminal. I go ahead and take that, stop it, make sure I don't have any microcontrollers. Then I take the server with me. This indicates that this intersection is being changed. I also gonna assign it as port now, which is 113. Wait, no, that's not right. It'd be 114, wouldn't it? Yeah. Order of operations here. Yes, I messed up on the let me head and do something about that. Let's see, 5. Go ahead and mute. Wait, not mute. Let's go ahead and delete the game scene. Cancel. problem is I don't want to obscured. It's the wrong game scene. The problem is I don't want to actually. Okay, cool. So it doesn't affect that. Okay, cool. We're gonna add a new source here. We're gonna add a window capture. Add source. We're gonna create a new source. We're gonna select the other one, which is test. And that one is now invisible. Is it too many? Is there such a thing as too many? There it is. Notice if they do is bring it all the way down. So it's not showing up there. There we go. And then I can just widen that. Okay, so this is my scripts that I use. This allows me to basically recode traffic lights here. That's what I've been using it for. This is the BIOS. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and set up the BIOS. Now it's going to be 127. So we'll go ahead and grab this template that I made. Go here to test. So 127 is going to be the new port. Then we have decided 114 is the code. Now we're going to head and grab this. Actually, I forgot to grab the microcontroller. We're going to head and turn that off and grab the microcontroller, because we're going to disassemble it. This will allow you to see what's inside of a microcontroller. And I actually need to configure this. Skipping that down. Add a new scene. Scene 5. I'm going to call it D3. But that's my stream deck, so I can press a button instead of having to go to my Streamlabs thing and change it. But anyways, we come down here. We should have a disassembler because there's nothing in there first. So we're going to go ahead and disassemble. Wait for it to disassemble. It's going to come back in here. We're not going to lose anything because we're in creative. But this is what's inside. It has a Redstone Tier 2 card, a network card for local networks, memory, and a script. Now this is high, so it's the basic script. This is what it started with. We have a central processing unit. But anyways, we edited the BIOS recently. So what I want to do is go ahead and flash that BIOS. So I'm going to take the Lua flash out and put this in. I'm going to overwrite the old code with new code. So I'm going to flash BIOS. We're going to say yes, it's in there. We're going to wait for it to complete. I'm going to call it micro. I've been calling all of them micro. As soon as I take this out, it's going to rename to micro. Now it's important that you put in the right EPM because you can override other EPMs. If you want to be safe, you can always grab a blank. Anyways, we'll go ahead and re-add this to the assembler. And then build it. Now we have a new microcontroller. Now the server, however, is going to change its configuration. We only have a local network card, and plus this is the traffic control card that allows me to control stuff with traffic control. But anyways, we have this network card. It's important that we delete that and grab a wireless network card instead and put it in. This will allow us to communicate wirelessly to other networks. such as the tablet. And if I figure out a way to do city servers when I've decided to chunk loading, if I ever decide to do that, what city servers will be is a server centered in the city within 400 blocks of each traffic light. They can communicate to each other back and forth. I haven't figured out how to do it yet, but we'll see how that works out. Which will allow me to have a central server here, which can control the traffic lights. Anyways, and this, if you're wondering right here, is just to build hard drives. It has the bare basics of parts, which allows me to put OpenOS onto a hard drive. That way, when I build a server, I don't need a terminal to do it. And this will allow me to verify if I'm running into bugs for whatever reason. This I can use to verify the network and stuff. Make sure the code's actually functioning. I don't need a microcontroller to make that work. Okay, anyways. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and plop the server back in as it's ready. Go ahead and give it a boot before we put in the microcontroller. Let it boot up and turn it back off again. That will set the wake message. We're also going to do the same for the microcontroller so its thing can do, and I can delete that microcontroller. So it's placed now. But yeah, this microcontroller is individual compared to others. This is a bridge, and I forgot to patch up my travel hole, but this is what's underneath the bridge. It's the same for over here as well. Here has a remote terminal, but it's not needed. But yeah, so no more terminals are needed inside the server rack. It doesn't matter which rack I put it in. Why I'm using servers is beyond me. But my assumption is eventually I'm going to have multiple servers running in the same network, which can control each other locally. Basically provide an override. So let's say I want these to flash for a little bit of time instead of its normal operation. What I can do is make a server that as soon as it starts up, makes a broadcast to 114, which would be done locally, which causes it to shut off, and then it takes over, broadcasting to the microcontroller, which is 126. That will then call that script. Now we're going to head and find out where this hard drive is located, F5FB. So we're going to head into the code now and find 5FB. There's F5B. 5FB, okay, so it's this one up here. So we have this code. Now I would like to keep the code the same. So what I do is I'm going to head and grab the normal cycle code out of the current traffic light code. And then go into here, we can now go ahead and add that down to here, which then does that. Now, flash mode. You may be wondering, how does that even work? Like, how do I add that in? So I'm going to head and give myself updated code here for the flash mode. So what I do is I would take this code from the other flasher system. I'm going to head and take this. First, actually, what's important is verifying that pink is not used. If it is, I do not want to use it. So pink in this case is used. So what I need to do now is find a code that's not used and use it and that will be, what color can I use? Let me use green. Green isn't used. You can use green. We'll go ahead and program this flasher in real quick. So it's literally that simple as adding another wire in. So north and south of the main road, so these will flash. That's for when the new script comes in. Actually, no, this one, yeah, this one needs that. Okay. No, it doesn't. My bad. It's the other one that needs that. Okay, anyways. At least at the moment. West and east are not, so they will just do that. So then what I would do is I will take my tuner from traffic control and go ahead and tune these together. Now you may be wondering, why would I use a control box when obviously we have control cards? Well, to be honest, these are a little bit harder. And if you saw the ramp meter code, you'll see why. A little bit harder, you have to have chords and all that. I haven't figured out a way yet how to do it without chords, but it won't allow you to group. This allows me to group them together. Now, I do use the control card, like this intersection. The control card is used to turn this on. So when it's a single bulb or whatever, for certain functionalities, I will. Just like over there, I'm going to do it, actually. Instead of using a control box, I'm actually going to cut up a special code that turns each individual frame on manually and back off again to flash. So you will eventually get to that one day, but not in this stream. Anyways, so we're coding. So let's get back to coding. So we use green for the flash mode this time. So you may know. Not again. Can we stop promoting things, please, guys? I gotta turn on mod icons so I can actually fix this. I'm so glad I did not do what I do. Okay, there we go. So that should remove it from the stream as well. But yeah, thank you for the follow. But yeah, we don't advertise here. Though we did reach 50 followers, which is nice. I have to look into what that gives me, but yeah, we reached 50 followers. Anyways, so we have this mode now. So we're gonna copy that. That goes in after the flashing. These set the modes for the current cycle. Bring this to normal. Announced. I'll explain this. Announced basically says, okay, so yes, it was announced already, so it doesn't keep going. I ran into an issue where it kept going, so it wouldn't stop. So I fixed it. So we're gonna come up here, right below this 8 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and set those. Next up is setting the code for the flashers. So this code right here, we're gonna paste that in below time 2 in the first loop. Now again, pink is used. We don't need yellow, so we can delete yellow. Pink is used, so we actually gonna have to switch over to let's see here. What's it called? Green. So we have to use green for that. we'll have to do the same thing down here. We're gonna have to change this down here so that it actually functions as it should. Now we're gonna add a sleep 3 for a total of 4 seconds. Or sorry, before it turns the lights red. So this basically turns it back off. So it's pretty simple code. Most of this is automatic. Down here, we just got to tell it what to do now. So before the cycle, we will add this line. And then after the cycle, we will add from else to this end. And that's how we get a light to flash at night. Now, as you can tell, the cycle still goes through, then finishes, then when it loops is when it checks for its normal cycle, which gets set by that bar thing. And this will change running to yes, from yes to no, which then triggers when this reruns again. Will trigger this code, which then announced be set to yes. And since it's set to yes, this won't continue to run. But there we go. The code is set up now for what we need it to do. So now what we can do is, I need to figure out the ID again because I went out of it. 5FB. So now what we can do is take this code, delete it, and paste in the new code. So this should work first time. So what we're going to do is actually start it. Let it start for 5 seconds. Actually, let's go ahead and let it start. Then to make sure it functions, we're actually going to stop it. And actually, I forgot, I don't stop. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and do that for now, because that would do nothing to anything. 114. Ugh, I keep doing that. Restart. 114. There we go. So it worked. It shut it off. Now it's going to turn it back on. It's going to go to flash mode. Now it will turn red, but since it's nighttime and here in a minute, the light should go back to flashing after it turns red. After 8 seconds, it will go red, and it should go back to normal. But anyways, you can kind of see how the cycle works. I felt old. Because those lights just start flashing because it's nighttime. But after a minute basically of time, this light will actually turn red for 8 seconds to clear out the intersection. Just like it does for that normal flash at night. Now, just keep in mind. Okay, there we go. So after 8 seconds, it will go back to flashing because it's nighttime. The code will actually sense that it is nighttime. There we go. So now it's back to flashing. And in a day, it will go back to normal cycles. So the reason why I'm making ramp intersections flash is because it's not busy. Anywhere where it's not considered a busy road or needed of a traffic, basically anywhere it doesn't need a traffic signal, it will just flash. Now you may be wondering, doesn't this have 2 left turn lanes? Yes, but as long as you play it safe, it should be fine. Just remember, this is treated as a stop sign now, and this is treated as yield, as watch out in case the intersection is not clear at the time. Now this one, you may be asking, why not make all of them flash at night? Well, one, lag. There is such a thing as too much going on. But I'm going to go ahead and delete these because these are, I don't want these right now. Because technically right now though, there's a there. So right now this is a one way. These ones don't flash because it's considered a high point. I mean, road intersection, which means it's gonna probably still see quite a bit of traffic throughout the night. Now, I could program a different program. So let's say, instead of calling the green of turn arrows at night, we just call the regular straight greens all the way through. Now that's an ideal right there, because then all this do is go straight to flashing. That I may actually do when I get to it. And I'm probably not going to get to it to stream because my MMO was out of time anyways. But, yeah, that's how this intersection works. So that's why this one won't flash, but that one will. But this one I may actually come up with a program where the cycle actually changes based off of time of day. Use the same mode setup, but instead of doing that, it goes on a different cycle. And it will just constantly loop through that cycle. Which then only call this flasher yellow and these greens instead. Which isn't ideal. These ones are flashing because they're ramps and exit ramps. There's only two. This one has two different intersections that it has to handle, so it will actually have to. Now, if I wasn't adding that intersection, probably I can get away with a flasher there as well. But because this, if I like to think of it, if there's more than 3 ways this intersection handles, I'm not gonna add it. But these ramps do not handle it. They only have 1, 2, and then 3. Minus the turns. Basically, it's about conflict points. The more intersections, the more roads you have there relate covering for, basically it's more poles. In this case, this only has 3 poles. If there was 4 poles, basically 3 or less poles can have an overnight flasher in my mind. So in these cases, these 2 will only have 3 poles max, because you can't come on this way and wait. I mean, I guess you could, but you'd be going the wrong way. So, yeah, you get the point how that works, and why this one will have a flash or not. But yeah, if I go to time set 0 to make sure it works, it should instantly kick on. As you saw, 3 seconds went by, so it cleared the intersection. These ones just stay red. And there we go. Now it's to its normal cycle. And actually, if we set to 15,000 again, making it nighttime, we should be able to see how these lights handle this light handles the cycle. So right now it's on its first phase out of 2 phases. It only has 2 phases at the moment. It will have 3, but right now it only has 2. It starts with the main street, obviously. Usually it says the main street turns, but this one has no main street turn. So it just goes that. So now it's going to finish its last cycle, which is to turn that green, which then lets the ramp out. This lets the final traffic go through before it goes to flashing. Kind of like the last. There we go. That one maybe went to flashing mode. This one's going to finish it now. It's going to go to red, and then it's going to go to flashing. And there we go. So that's how it works. It's quite simple. It really is. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video and liked... Wait. Yeah, I think... I was blabbering and you were on the code the whole time. Anyways, I'm going to explain real quick flash and see what it heard me. So this is flash mode. This one only has 1, 2, 3. You will not be coming up this way, so it does not need that third one. So 3, if it's 3 or less pools going horizontal, it doesn't matter if it's connected to another horizontal pool or not. So like this one's technically would be considered 1 post, but this is 2 pools and 1 post. So as long as it's 3 or less pools, I will consider allowing it to have a nighttime flasher. This only has 2, and that one only has 2. That one although only has 3 at the moment, will have 4. So I'm not going to program it to have it, because then I'll have to remove the programming. But I think I have an ideal. If it's more than 3, it can have no protected turns unless it needs a protected turn, in the case that that's the only thing that that turn has. But it has a flash like this, it will not give the green at night, which is actually a smart idea. Now if you come down this way, this one has 2, and that one maybe the same as the diners. But yeah, as what I'm talking about here, so you know, the desert only has these protected turns, so disabling the protected green is not an option, because if we do that, then turn won't be able to turn. I guess I could set it to flash the yellow automatically, but that doesn't really work. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this live stream, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Sometimes I have to keep on breathing in. My lungs are filled with too much pain. All the shadows